This is Saturday Salvation for January the 3rd, 2026, here on Following Him, the Disciple Life. Without faith, you aren't going to save anyone. Kind of following up with the thoughts that we were talking about with Friday Freedom yesterday. We were talking about how we're freed from the normal ways of growing a kingdom. You have people with this idea of Christian nationalism. Now, I understand that people will apply that term like to anyone that wants to have any morality at all in consideration with government, and they'll accuse people of Christian nationalism and such. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about those that would call for actual theocracy, as if that is the way Christ's kingdom is to be grown. And they're overlooking some very basic concepts when it comes to salvation. And one of those is a person must believe. In Hebrews 11, verse 6, but without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. If you force somebody to do certain Christian rituals, you use the force of law to make someone be at church every Sunday, to force someone to partake of communion on a weekly basis, that you pass legislation where somebody has to acknowledge Christ as King, but they don't believe it, you're not saving anybody. You're not actually growing the kingdom. And in fact, you are not doing what Christ commanded. And so you might personally say Christ is King. You might get somebody else to say Christ is King. But you're essentially saying, Lord, Lord, and not doing the things that he says. You are acknowledging him as King without living like he is King. Jesus wanted the gospel preached to all creation, to every creature. He who not just does the right rituals and actions, but he who believes and is baptized shall be saved. You can use force to force a bunch of people to be baptized and have somebody standing there saying, I now baptize you into the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. And you can force a whole bunch of people to do that and it not matter when it comes to that person's soul. The point is salvation. The point is not domination. Now, yes, from a spiritual standpoint, the point is domination. And the fact is, spiritually, Jesus already dominates. All authority has been given to him in heaven and earth. But see, that's why he doesn't need your help as far as growing the kingdom. That is, your worldly ways to help him. Rather, you need to trust him and use his ways to grow the kingdom. His ways to save, which ultimately you're not the one saving. He is the one that saves, because salvation comes from him. It doesn't come from any of us that are mere physical mortals that, yes, have immortal souls, but mere physical mortals and, our shortcomings. Rather, it comes from him who is the one that lived the sinless life. And he is the one that determines how we bring people to salvation. And it's not through legislation. It's not through coercion. It's through the persuasion of the truth. It's through the information of the gospel that people have salvation. So without somebody believing that you're going to force somebody to do certain things, or you would suggest that we should, without that person believing, you are not helping them. In fact, you're probably building bitterness and resentment in that person, so they're less likely to ever convert to the Christ. And so you are not only damaging the reputation of the kingdom, but you are possibly making it even more difficult for that person to accept Christ and be saved for eternity. Without faith, you aren't going to save anyone. You have a good rest of the day, and shalom.